Okay class, so for this video, I will be discussing lesson 4, rational function. Okay, so let's start. First, we will be discussing the graph of a rational function. So using the given graph, which is this one, identify the following. Number 1, asymptotes. So when we say asymptotes, again, it is the part of the graph that the graph gets close to but does not touch or does not intersect. Okay, so the asymptotes of this graph are these broken lines. Okay, so this is the horizontal asymptote. Okay, and this one is the vertical asymptote. So what we have to do is just to write the equation of those two lines. So notice that this curve, this graph of the rational function approaches it. Okay, so it approaches the asymptote, but when we continue it, it does not touch. Okay, so it will never touch the asymptotes. Kumbaga, lumalapit lang siya, pero hindi sila mag-intersect. Okay, so let's start first here, yung vertical asymptote. So let's have VA. So VA, or the vertical asymptote, is, so it will be a vertical line, and since it touches 2 of the x-axis, therefore the equation is x is equal to 2. And then next is the horizontal asymptote. Okay, so the horizontal asymptote is this horizontal line. And since it touches 4 of the y-axis, therefore the equation will be y is equal to 4. Okay, so these are the asymptotes. Next will be the intercepts. So again, when you say intercepts, this is the point on the graph that touches the y-axis. That will be the y-intercept. And then, so a point that touches the x-axis, that will be the x-intercept. Okay, so first let's have the y-intercept. So since this is the y-intercept, because this is the point that touches the y-axis, so that is 0, negative 0.5. Okay, and then the x-intercept will be this red point here, because it is the point that touches the x-axis. So that will be negative 0.25, 0. Okay, so this is the y-intercept and this is the x-intercept. Next, let's talk about the domain and range. So when you say domain, these are the values of x and the function. So notice na yung graph natin, yung green curve dito, kumbaga, pag tinignan natin yung mga coordinates, yung mga x coordinates niya, that will be all the values of x except dito, yung 2. Okay, so hindi lang siya madidikit dito sa 2. So therefore, the domain will be x such that x is not equal to 2. Okay, so this means na lahat ng values of x except 2. Okay, so for the range, so usually when we get the domain, kung ano lang yung ating vertical asymptote, yun lang din yung restriction ng domain. Next, for the range will be the restriction of y. So notice na yung curve natin, so kumbaga, pag yung y-coordinate niya, meron siya lahat dito sa values ng less than 4 and greater than 4. So maliban ng kay 4. Kasi yun yung asymptote. So therefore, the range will be y such that y is not equal to 4. So in writing the range, so kung si domain, ang restriction niya ay yung vertical asymptote, si range naman, ang restriction niya ay si horizontal asymptote. Okay? So next, again, given the graph, identify the following. So for the asymptotes, so as you can see, the asymptotes are the x and the y-axis. Okay, so first let's have the vertical asymptote. So the vertical asymptote is this one, the y-axis, and that can be written as x is equal to 0. Okay, so this is the vertical line, and then x is equal to 0. And then for the horizontal asymptote, that will be y is equal to 0, which is the x-axis. So, kumbaga, yung x is equal to 0 kasi ang natatouch nitong vertical line sa x-axis ay 0. And then, itong y is equal to 0, ang natatouch na is also 0 lang. So, y is equal to 0. And then, for the intercepts, so since ang ating x at y-axis ay asymptotes, meaning hindi siya matatouch ng graph. Therefore, the x-intercept, we can say that it does not exist, or kumbaga walang x-intercept yung graph na to. Also, y-intercept, it does not exist, or DNE. So, wala tayong x or y-intercept in this graph. So, for the domain, so again, in writing the domain, it will be x such that x is not equal to whatever the value of the vertical asymptote here, so that will be 0. And then, range is y such that y is not equal to the value of the horizontal asymptote here, so that will be 0. Okay? So, these are the asymptotes, intercepts, and domain and range of the graph of the given graph, which is f of x is equal to 10 over x. So, here we have application of rational function, and when in our discussion for application of rational function, the problems that we will be having here are problems involving inverse variation. So let's have problem number 1. So the time t required to empty a tank varies inversely as the rate r of pumping. If a pump can empty a tank in 150 minutes at a rate of 400 gallons per minute, number 1, construct a mathematical model for the time t as a function of the rate r. Okay, so to construct a mathematical model for the time t, this means that we are to create a function wherein t is the dependent variable and r is the independent variable. Okay, so to do the mathematical model or the function, first we have to convert this sentence to an equation. So when you say the time t required to empty a tank varies inversely as the rate r of pumping, it means that t is equal to some value of k over the rate. So ito ang this means that t varies inversely to r. So to create the mathematical model for t and as a function of the rate r, we have to know the value of k first. So how will we solve for the value of k? By using the given here. If a pump can empty a tank in 150 minutes, so this means that 150 minutes is the time and 400 is the rate r. So we just have to substitute it here and then we can solve for the value of k. So this will be 150 is equal to k over 400. So to solve for the value of k, we can get the LCD. So LCD is 400 and we multiply it to both sides of the equation. So this can be cancelled out and 150 times 400 is 60,000 is equal to k. So the value of k is 60,000. So since we already have the value of k, we can already substitute it and we can get the mathematical model. So the mathematical model for t as a function of the rate r is t is equal to 60,000 over r rather. Okay, so 60,000 over r. So this is the mathematical model for time t as a function of r. Okay, so next, how long will it take to empty a tank at a rate of 600 gallons per minute? So, tinatanong dito kung gaano katagal makapag-empty ng tank. So, meaning, we are solving for time. Okay? So, we are solving for time given the rate. So, rate here is 600. So, to solve for time, we just have to substitute it to the mathematical model that we got here from number 1. So, this will be t is equal to 60,000 over 600. 600. Okay, so 60,000 divided by 600, T is equal to 100. So this will be 100, and don't forget to include the appropriate unit, 100 minutes. So T here is in minutes. Okay, so therefore it will take 100 minutes to empty a tank at a rate of 600 gallons per minute. So this will be the answer for number 2. Okay, next. So for problem number 2, again, we have inverse variation. So number 1, we are to construct a mathematical model again. So we have to analyze the problem. The force F of L needed to break a board varies inversely with the length L of the board. If it takes 24 pounds of pressure to break a board that is 2 feet long, number 1, again, construct a mathematical model for the force F of L as a function of the length L. Okay, so again, we just have to convert this sentence to an equation. So when you say the force F of L varies inversely with the length L, it means F of L is equal to some value of K over L. Okay, so to construct the mathematical model, we have to solve for the value of K. So to solve for the value of K, again, we substitute the given. So it takes 24 pounds of pressure, meaning 24 pounds will be the force, which is F of L. Okay, so this is F of L. And then, to break a board that is 2 feet long, so meaning this is your length. Okay, so we substitute it here. So this will be 24 is equal to K over 2. Then we solve for K, get the LCD. So 2 will be the LCD, multiply it to both sides. 2 times 24 is 48. And then this will be cancelled out, is equal to K. So since K is 48, we just have to substitute it to this equation. So this will be F of L is equal to 48 over L. Okay, so this will be the mathematical model for F of L. Okay, so that's L plus. Okay, so F of L is equal to 48 over L. Next, for your enhanced activity, you will be answering number 2. How many pounds of pressure will it take to break a board that is 8 feet long? So this will be for the enhanced activity. So that's it for lesson 4, rational function. Don't forget to like and subscribe to e-sipnayan.